This movie was pretty good. Adam Warlock was clearly thrown in since they had set him up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, though. They clearly had wanted to go a new direction, but they still wanted to finish that. Which I'm surprised they did that. Because fucking Doctor Strange had set up Mordo to be this fucking awesome bad guy. And I was really hyped. I loved that end credit scene. Um, Probably one of my favorite end credit scenes of all time in the MCU. But then in Doctor Strange 2, they said that Doctor Strange already beat him or whatever, so he fucking beat Mordo off screen. So that was really lame. But he does fight him in the movie anyway. I don't know why they did that stupid shit. Anyways, let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 after my hate for Doctor Strange 2. Um, this movie's basically separating all the Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess, because of the ending of the movie, which I will talk about later, obviously. Gamora's back because of past shit. Time travel, whatever, they make fun of their lazy writing by saying that she's basically the only one to do that, which is a lie because a lot of them died anyway, too, that are brought back, like Spider-Man, like Star-Lord himself, like Drax, like Groot. I'm not sure if Nebula died via the snap. I don't think she did. I think Mantis did. Anyways, all the Guardians but Rocket died to the snap, so a lot of them did come back to life. So I don't really know what Star-Lord's talking about. This movie takes place off after the Disney Plus short that I watched a while ago. This movie's quite old because they tried to support the strike and now the strike is over, so I'm watching it. So yeah, it was something. It was really good at times and it was okay at times. It wasn't bad. A lot of people pretend that the MCU has just gotten worse and worse after Endgame. And then there's bigots that call it the MCU. I really enjoyed it. I wish they would have done more with Gamora though. And it made no fucking sense that they made her, the leader basically of the Ravengers. She has this big entrance. She's badass. She pops in front of all of them, pushes them out the way. She's the leader now, right? I don't have a problem with that specifically. The fact of the matter is that they go sneak up on a ship and nobody recognizes her. If she's the leader of the Ravengers, you would think people would recognize her. Or just recognize her as one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Or recognize her as one of the people that helped defeat Thanos. Something. But, no, nobody really notices her. Very weird. Alf, of all people, um, is mentioned in 2023. I like Elf, but it was not something I expected. Near the end of the movie, Rocket's get given a card with Alf on it. Star-Lord also gets the first F-bomb of the MCU, even though they technically own the Marvel movies, which had a few F-bombs here and there. But he tells Nebula to open the fucking door. Kind of a lame way to give us the first F-bomb. It was still a funny scene, but definitely a bit lame. You would expect it in an epic moment. And then, of course, they have this decently intimidating villain played by the same dude that was in the Suicide Squad show. The Peacemaker show, actually. The Suicide Squad movies. You had me confused for a second. And he's decently intimidating. He has a few good scenes. And then he gets his ass kicked. There's no big boss fight. That is becoming something that happens a lot in the new Marvel movies and Marvel shows, I guess. Because Captain Marvel one-shotted the dude in her movie, which I actually thought that was pretty funny. And it worked. Because Captain Marvel's fucking powerful. And then they did it again in the Nick Fury show, where the fight was fucking sucked and barely anything happened, and the dude that can't die just kind of died for no reason at all, no explanation. And now in this one, they had this big dude. He fucked Rocket's life up. He killed his friends, and then they just kind of beat him up for a little bit, and Gamora peels off his face. And then there's like this big thing about how the Guardians don't kill or whatever. They already established that shit in the end of the first Guardians movie. Where when they're talking to that one little douchebag that's a wife beater in real life. Whatever. He also played Kelbo in Wizards of Waverly Place. I found that out after I rewatched the show. But yeah, he shows up and they talk to him for a little bit, and they vow not to kill anybody. Drax keeps trying to kill people, though. Tries to weave out the rule. They redo that same fucking joke in the third movie. They already established it in the first movie. I don't get why they're doing this. Drax gets one little badass fight scene. Because I guess they wanted to let Batista become more serious. I'm kind of glad that he's leaving, though, because I found out some stuff about him that I definitely don't like. Groot gets his design from the short. You know, it's kind of weird seeing him in this design because it feels like he's been Baby Groot forever, even though he was only Baby Groot in one movie. Because of the fact that they did the Baby Groot show, which I have seen both seasons, but there just isn't enough to talk about for a review. So he's had like 2 seasons of a show where he's Baby Groot and 1 movie. But he was Teen Groot in Infinity War and Endgame, I think. So he had more appearances movie-wise as Teen Groot. Mantis gets a bit of a more serious role here and there. She's not as, stupid, I would say, as Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Cosmo does some stuff here and there. They do stuff with James Gunn's brother, who they had set up all the way back in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as basically Yondu's new replacement. He was already his number 1 guy. That's a Batman 1989 reference. But all these years later, he apparently has not learned how to use the arrow. So that's something. I guess they wanted that to be funny too. There's just a lot of stuff that I didn't find funny. I still think it was a really good movie, though. Adam Warlock pops up here and there. He's played by the same dude that was in War of the Millers. He's in other stuff, but that's the main thing I know him from. But yeah, he just kind of pops in here and there, fights the Guardians here and there. He does get, just like Drax, one kind of badass scene. Nobody gets seriously injured unless there's someone that can easily heal from it, like Nebula. Because he just kind of beats up Drax. Nothing really happens to Drax. And he destroys Groot. Groot's just a head walking with, like, roots. Yet he grows back his entire body, no problem. I guess that's how that works. I just wish they would explain how Groot works better in the MCU. They really don't. They just expect you to know, I guess. Rocket is taken out for most of the movie, but we do get flashbacks and stuff from his past, so he is still there. But he gets injured very early on in the movie, and he finally appears in the actual movie when there's about 45 minutes left. But like I said, it's not like he's entirely gone, because there's flashbacks and stuff. They also have like this weird scene that kills off his other 2 friends. Like Lila makes sense. He knew that Rocket was going to escape. He shot Lila in the back, and he was already there. We saw him. But with the other 2, Rocket had like ripped the shit out of his face. He was down. I don't know why he didn't kill him. Didn't at least shoot him in the head or something. He just tore up his face. Then the people come, they shoot a little bit, and then Rocket shoots all of them and kills them all. And apparently the other two are dead. You don't hear a scream or a yelp or anything because it's got to be dramatic. You can't know that they're dead until Rocket turns around. So there was that. It was an okay movie. It was a good third movie, but they wanted to do more with Rocket's backstory, which they had set up in the first two movies. So that is one thing they definitely followed through with. Rocket has that big speech when he's drunk about how he didn't ask to be made in the first movie. There's some other stuff. And in the second movie, Yondu tries to relate to him with how messed up they both are. So it was always something I expected to come, but not at the cost of Adam Warlock. It should have definitely been more of a threat. They do make an excuse for that too, about how he was pulled out of his tube early or whatever. Even though it's been years since fucking Guardians of the Galaxy 2 came out. And it was technically in the future for quite a while. Even though recently it was the official day Iron Man and all of them died in the MCU. I think that was like a few weeks ago. So it's all these years later, but I guess he got taken out too early. It was an okay movie, and that's really all I have to say. Actually, one more thing. There's an end credit scene about Star-Lord and his grandpa talking or whatever. And then it ends with Star-Lord will return. So I'm guessing that most of the cast are just done with the MCU, or will go on to do some Disney Plus show, and probably won't have as big of a deal in the MCU. Drax for sure won't, because Batista has made it very well known that he was not too happy with what his character went with. He wanted a completely different character, and he was not happy with what they did in the MCU. I'm not sure about everybody else, though.